in this world to live up to your expectations. Neither are you here to live up to mine. Yeah. I don't owe no one, no obligation. No one owe me none, so everything is fine, fine. I said I am that I am, I am, I am, I am.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. This is Chris Callahan again with LoveWisdomFreedom.com and at YouTube at LoveWisdomFreedom93. Today's presentation is titled The Mystery Tradition of Reggae Music and Its Symbols. And so let's jump right into it. So before we get into the bulk of the presentation, I wanted to start with a short poem that I found in my research. This was in a Rasta document called a Rasta Interpretation of 1 Corinthians by a gentleman, Matthias Tekel Selassie. And a lot of the work that, the research that I did for this presentation was done through some of the documents that he put out. And much of the artwork that I used today is going to be from illustrations that were provided in the documents that he put together. And so this poem is called Vision. So the poem says, Third eye, between deep and high, in the midst, midnight, dream of mind, everything in its sight, but it is hidden, the eye. Invisible and visible are tied, we shall not die. And so I think this is really a reference to the invisible and visible, or the spiritual and the physical really being tied or being immaterial and not truly being separated. And when we have opened our third eye or have reached a higher state of consciousness and are able to see reality for what it is, we can see the real I. It's no longer hidden because the real I, or the higher S self, is really our spiritual nature and our connection to creation. And so hopefully this poem can help prepare our vision to better receive the message of this presentation today, but also the general message of reggae music as a whole. And really the goal of today's presentation is to show that reggae music is more than just a genre of music, but rather an initiatory teaching intended to bring people closer into alignment with creation, natural law, or as they would say, Jah. Now, anyone familiar with the symbolism in the Western mystery traditions, or what some would call Western esotericism, can see here that these images are covered in rich symbolism. If we just start right here, we can see the seal of Solomon, or what some would call the Star of David. We can see the cross inside that. We see the colors, the red, gold, and green. The Lion of Judah here in the middle. We can see Emperor Haile Selassie with solar symbolism around him. We can see again the seal of Solomon, the Trinity in the center of it. We can see a reference to the third eye in the middle of the hat or the crown of Emperor Haile Selassie. We can see a reference to the yin and yang, or the solar and lunar energies surrounding the earth. We've also got a zodiacal cross with a solar symbol in the middle, red, gold, and green around it. And so what I'm trying to show is that the symbolism throughout reggae music, not only in the songs but in the art and other representations, is filled with a deeper meaning. And hopefully that after this presentation, you'll have a foundation of knowledge to help you better decode the message contained in reggae music. And my first real introduction to symbolism and decoding symbolism was really in a movie called The Da Vinci Code. And so I had a short clip here that ideally can help to convey the message of what the goal of today's presentation is.
The symbols are a language that can help us understand our past. As the saying goes, a picture says 1,000 words, but Which words? Interpret for me, please, this symbol, first thing that comes to mind, anybody.
Hatred, racism.
Ku Klux Klan.
Yes, yes, interesting. But they would disagree with you in Spain. There they are robes worn by priests. Now, this symbol, anyone?
Evil.
La fourche du diable.
In English, please.
Devil's pitchfork.
Poor Poseidon. That is his trident, a symbol of power to millions of the ancients. Now, this symbol.
Madonna and Child.
Faith, Christianity.
No, it's a pagan god Horus and his mother Isis centuries before the birth of Christ. Understanding our past determines actively our ability to understand the present. So, how do we sift truth from belief? How do we write our own histories, personally or culturally, and thereby define ourselves? How do we penetrate years, centuries of historical distortion to find original truth? Tonight, this will be our quest.
And so that's just it. We're going to try and find the original truth, to sift through years of historical distortion, and we're going to do that through the message put out by reggae music. And so before we get into breaking down the specific symbols and their meanings, I'd like to just define a few terms so everybody understands what I mean by mystery tradition of reggae music and its symbols. And so the mystery traditions, or the mystery schools, were initiatory schools with the goal to establish, maintain, and develop the link between humanity and the spiritual guidance of mankind. It was to assure mankind is aware of the origin and future goal of evolution. This required a connection with the spiritual reality, hence the focus on initiation as the various and evolving ways for man to connect and reach into this spiritual reality. And so really there's schools that are helping us to be aware of the spiritual nature of reality, that the spiritual world and the physical world are not separate, and how to evolve in consciousness, which is really the purpose of our life here. And so what do we mean by reggae music? Well, it, as a musical style, it is, it's developed in the 1960s in Jamaica. It's known specifically for distinctive rhythmic structure, emphasis on the offbeat, and often socially conscious lyrics. And it's these conscious lyrics that we're really going to be concerned with today. And then, so what do we mean by symbols? Well, a symbol is a thing that represents or stands for something else. And so oftentimes we'll use a symbol or a story or some sort of shapes, things that mean something more than the physical thing itself. It's a metaphor or an allegory. And so we're trying to convey a message or a moral truth through a story to help to make it more digestible and understandable. And so that's what symbols are. Now, the symbol is a sign that one must learn to read, meaning that it takes some prerequisite knowledge to understand first to be able to decode. We have to learn to read these symbols. Now, when an image, a collection of letters, a word or phrase, gesture, a single sound, a musical harmony or melody have a significance through evocation, then we are dealing with a symbol. And now there's a couple other concepts that I thought would be helpful to discuss as a foundation to better understand, again, the idea of decoding symbols and a deeper meaning held within these symbolic stories. And so this quote says, "The traditional texts of initiation can be read and studied in two ways. One of these deals with the exoteric or historic meaning. This is sometimes like the literal interpretation. Now, this generally serves as a foundation, that is, as a symbol for the esoteric sense expressed through the symbolic, which these texts, legends, and representations would not have transmitted had the people seen them as nonsensical, rather than as stories forming an image that they could understand and eventually disseminate." So really important here, there's this idea of exoteric and esoteric. The exoteric is the literal or historical interpretation of something. The esoteric is the deeper symbolic meaning, often the moral teaching or lesson that is trying to be conveyed through the story. But the story, the literal story, is necessary to transmit the message to the people. So both are necessary, and it also kind of shows to the Hermetic principle of correspondence. You have this exoteric, but it is reflective still of that more deep esoteric understanding. Continuing, the symbolic attitude of ancient knowledge cultivated the intellect to the extent of perceiving all of the phenomena of nature itself as a symbolic writing, revealing the forces and laws governing the energetic and even spiritual aspects of our universe. So really, you know, what they're saying is that all of this, the attitude of ancient knowledge was really an attempt to perceive and understand the symbolic meanings of reality so that we can better understand the laws of nature, which govern, you know, as it says, the energetic and even spiritual aspects of our universe. And so really I'd like to look at the purpose and goal of reggae music through the words of one of reggae's most important figures, Peter Tosh.
I have been on a research. Music is psychology, see? And if the music does not penetrate the heart, the soul, and the mind, and the body, then you ain't gonna feel it. Because reggae music is not something that you hear, it's something you feel, see? And if you don't feel it, you can't know it. See, it is a spiritual music with spiritual ingredients for spiritual purposes. See?
Where exactly is the roots coming from?
Well, the roots comes from Africa, which all roots coming from. And it's a spiritual motivation of inspiration through divine lines of Jah Rastafari, see, who is the creator, who was and will forever be. See?
How old is this Back to Africa movement?
Ever since black people became conscious of their culture, see, and their roots. And that was a couple 100 years ago, even in the days of slavery. But because slavery was forced, people were afraid to speak what they had in mind.
What is a Rastaman really?
A Rastaman is a man who speaks the truth. A Rastaman is a follower of the Creator. See? The prefix Ras means head. The suffix Tafari means creator. When you put them together, it's the head creator. We are the followers of the head creator, who is the Trinity. Haile Selassie is the Trinity. The word Haile means power, and Selassie means Trinity. He is the power of the Trinity. See? And he was, and he is, and he will forever be. See? So we are the followers of him who is the head, Rastafari. The prefix Ras means head. See? That means without your head, then what are you? See?
Would reggae take over the world?
That's what reggae is supposed to be. See? If reggae is not accepted universally around the four corners of the earth, then what's the use of a music? The music was made for people.
So that's just it. The music was made for the people. It was made to be universally accepted. It was made to be felt, not just heard. It's supposed to penetrate the mind and the body and the spirit. We're supposed to feel it so that we can know it. And it's a spiritual music with spiritual ingredients for spiritual purposes. And hopefully today, as we break down the symbolism, we can better understand these spiritual ingredients so that we can more consciously receive the message or the spiritual purpose of the music. He also says that Rastaman is a man who specifically deals with the truth and also is a follower of the Creator, Jah Rastafari. And he breaks down some of the etymology and which will help with some of the symbolism here. But I want to focus on the fact that he says, a Rastaman is a follower of the Creator. And so what they're trying to do is what he's conveying the message of is they follow the creator of the universe, that underlying intelligence, if you want to call it nature, the cosmic intelligence, or God, whatever it is that you describe that as or conceive of that force as, it is the underlying force of creation. It is the force that put gravity in place and all the other laws of nature, not only the physical laws but the spiritual laws. And so it's when they are saying Jah, they are referencing the Creator. But what they are trying to do is to not reference in the way that was forced upon them through Christianity. And so they are using Jah to differentiate, but again to still to reference that creative force. Now there's the other concept of I and I, which is the individual's connection to that source or creation. It's the spirit of creation within each and every one of us in our individual connection to creation, to source, and each other, which as a result, it means it's a reference to oneness and equality with one another. And it's the I and I because it's referring to I, the individual, because our individual creativity is so valuable and important, but we need to express our individuality within within a cohesive or symbiotic way with the rest of creation without harming or infringing upon another's rights. There's also Haile Selassie, and in the Ethiopian language, the etymology of from Amharic or Ge'ez of Haile means power and virtue or power of, and Selassie means the Trinity. So together, Haile Selassie means power of the Trinity. That means one that has their thoughts, their emotions, and their actions in alignment, the mind, body, and soul. It means an individual who is in non-duality, an individual that as you think, so you feel, and so you do. And so then they also have the term Rastafari. Now Ras means, again, head. The prefix Ras means head, and Tafari means creator. So together, Rastafari means head creator. Again, that is the force of creation, the force that is above all of the things that were created. And so there is this exoteric interpretation where the emperor of Ethiopia was called Haile Selassie. They did call him Rastafari. So they are referring to him as an individual who was in alignment, did have the power of the Trinity, had that spirit within him, had discovered his true nature as spirit and the connection of I and I, of him to the source, and was able to be an example through his action and his words. We also look at the correspondence just with the term Ras or head. There's while I was doing my research in another one of these documents by Maitas Tekel Selassie, he gives three different basic meanings for Ras. The first is a political or military head. Now, this is the royal revelation, teaching us to rule the self and the world according to rights and justice, and to fight for freedom. This is the way to experience the kingdom of heaven in physical form as the earthly garden, then to restore the ancient happiness of creation. The second definition was the bodily head. This is the material revelation. This teaches us the scientifical mysteries of mankind, blood, and flesh. The head is the abode of the crown. Our vision and mind dwelt there too. It is the commanding center of the human organism, the door of entrance and exit of light, word, and food, and we recognize the point of unification of all worlds between spirit and matter. Now, Rastafari is the mystic einity of all in all. Now, the third is the apex or the peak, the head or the apex or peak. That's Rasta upon top. It is the highest stage of divine language, overstanding and grace, fulfillment of all prophets and promises, and global spiritual panorama we see from higher education. Mount Zion, time of glorious natural kingdom, mountains of rocks, gold and precious stones, wealth of the planets for king and queens, shadow of pleasure they cast. And so again, that's showing that there is not only just a literal or physical or exoteric interpretation, but there is a symbolic or esoteric, deeper meaning trying to be conveyed with all of these terms. And so I'd like to show through a song by John 9 called New Name how these different concepts can be implanted into a song and then can need to be decoded a bit to better understand what they're saying.
Truth, the light, know the Christ, the example, the exemplar, and the prototype. Do you know the Christ consciousness? Are you aware of what the prophecy will bring? The spirit of the Most High in a king, trumpet sounding in fulfillment as the righteous gathering under a new name. Rastafari, weak heart a tremble when them hear it sound. New name, power of the Trinity, Lion of Judah, return to the throne with a new name. King Rastafari, weak heart a tremble when them hear it sound. New name, power of the Trinity, Lion of Judah, return to the throne with a new name. King Rastafari, Israel assemble when them hear it sound. New name, power of the Trinity, Lion of Judah, return to the throne.
All right, so the song was riddled with a lot of these terms that we were just discussing and even using them interchangeably. But first, so the song is titled New Name, King Rastafari. And so first what they're doing is saying that head creator, there's a new name for the creator. They are no longer going to refer to the creator as God, because that was the idea of the creator forced upon them by colonialism or imperialism. These systems that oppress them and even to the point of slavery. And so they don't want to refer to the creator as this, by the same term that was given to them by their oppressors. So they're trying to differentiate and use a new name. And so they're going to call him King Rastafari or Jah. And that, again, is a reference to the head creator, but an attempt to differentiate. She also says Haile Selassie and power of the Trinity interchangeably, showing you that when they're talking about the Haile Selassie, they're less talking about the emperor himself and more about the power of the Trinity, or the symbol of what that actually meant. Even further, she goes into talking about it as a state of consciousness. Know the Christ first, the way, the truth, the light. So it's saying don't look at Christ as the literal interpretation, as the man, the second, or the coming of God and physical incarnate, but look at it as the truth. That is the light that brings, the truth brings light to darkness. That is the way. And so look at a higher state of consciousness. Know the Christ consciousness. And so she's showing you that we're not looking at it as this literal thing. And then she even says, the example, the exemplar, and the prototype. So, we can look at Haile Selassie, we can look at Jesus Christ as individuals who did embody a sovereign and who had come into alignment themselves, had balanced the feminine and masculine components within themselves, had their thoughts, emotion, and actions in alignment, and were standing in truth and in alignment with nature. And so those individuals are examples, are exemplars, and what we should strive to be. We should try to emulate their actions and follow their teaching, as opposed to venerating them as deities. Selassie himself said, "Man should not, we should not confuse man with deity." And so, really, although there is the exoteric story, and there may be some validity and all that to it, the deeper meaning is the symbolism, is the allegory, is the meaning they're trying to really convey. It's not just this historical, literal story. And so another a prominent symbol in reggae music is the Seal of Solomon, or the Star of David. You'll often even see them do this with this hand gesture, and this is a reference to the Seal of Solomon. And what this represents is the balance of the feminine and masculine aspects, or the chalice and the blade. Now we can see the upward pointing triangle is referred to as the blade. Now this represents the expression of the light, or the solar, the day, masculine or active components, analytical, dominant, aggressive, what's often associated with left brain activities. Then we have the downward pointing triangle, or the chalice, and this is often represents the expression of dark, lunar, the night, feminine or passive, intuitive, submissive, what we would call right brain activities, or right brain components of the self. And so when we put it together as the Seal of Solomon, we are aligning these two. We are integrating these two as a holistic being. We have balanced the feminine and the masculine. We have balanced the intuitive and the analytical. We have become a holistic being, which allows us to reach a higher state of consciousness. The Seal of Solomon has also been used to convey the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, or as within, so without. We've seen that over and over with this exoteric and esoteric interpretations, and so it's very much is representative of this mystery tradition, but mystery traditions throughout history. And so then there's the red, gold, and green. These colors keep coming up. And what's the significance of those and the symbolic meaning there? This is sung by Kabaka Pyramid with Damian Marley that really helps explain exactly what they mean here.
Until we walk in with the red, gold, and green, and every man turning a king, every woman turn queen. The red are for the shedding of the blood, we set we free. The gold stand for justice and equality. The green is for abundance and fertility, and the lion stand for sovereignty. Red, gold, and green, red, gold, and green. We have the banner from you know your soul clean. Red, gold, and green, red, gold, and green. Roots reggae music up in your bloodstream. Red, gold, and green, red, gold, and green. Every corner, every lane, every scheme. Red, gold, and green, red, gold, and green. Yes or nothing, know where we mean. Red, gold, and green, red, gold, and green. Until we walk in.
All right, so as you said, the red is for the shedding of the blood that set we free. So it symbolized the blood of dead freedom fighters, soldiers of Jah Army, those who have made the sacrifice to stand for what is true, for what is right, to stand against the oppressive system, to do what is right. Now the gold stands for justice and equality. I would say natural law. This is the mechanism in nature that brings about the result, depending on the choices that we make. Then the green is ideally the result if we choose to do what is right, and that is representative of abundance and fertility. It also represents balance and harmony, nature. In the chakra system, it's the fourth of seven, so it's the middle or balancing point. It's green, and it represents the heart chakra, which is symbolic for true care. And on a more exoteric level, it can represent the earth or Africa or Ethiopia more specifically as well. So I also came across this poem called The Red, Gold, and Green by Fabian Miranda, and I thought it would be good to give another perspective on the importance of these colors. Red, gold, and green will color the land, for the word of the Rasta man is at hand. Red runs the blood of a people who died at the wish of man living in vain. Red runs the blood of a people on trial, in a court of iniquity, sentenced to pain. When a man knows his loss, he has only to gain. Let the red, gold, and green shine through the tears and the rains. Green is the fields of Africa land, built by the power of black working hands, turning and tilling all day the black earth. Black hearts sing a song of a day that would come, when the work that was sown could be reaped as their own. Gold is the wealth of a land looted and raped by a people who live only to take. A time is at hand when lightning shall sound and thunder will break. All those with fear shall cower and quake at the hands of a people, resuming their place in a nation, repatriated, standing solid and bold, in the name of reclaiming the red, gold, and green. When a man knows his worth, he has only to gain, for what was once his shall be his again. So as I said, as the people make the sacrifice to stand for what is true and for what is right, in opposition to that force that wants to take and pillage and loot the land, and eventually, the people who stand for what is true and right will end up with order and balance and equality and justice. So one of the keys is to focus on, another prominent symbol, and that is the lion, or the Lion of Judah. And as the song said, it stands for sovereignty or sovereignty. That's an individual that has attained self-mastery, who has aligned both the feminine and the masculine aspects within the self, has aligned his thoughts, emotions, and actions, and in his alignment with natural law, what is true, what is right, and what is moral. The lion also represents courage and strength. It represents royalty and spiritual power. Now, the male lion has been seen as a solar symbol, with the shaggy mane being seen to resemble the rays of the sun. And now the Rastas will also say their dreadlocks would be representative of a shaggy mane from the lion as well, and would see that as another symbolic meaning of the lion and sovereignty in physical form. And kings also have sovereignty over their kingdom. And the kingdom of heaven is within. It's the mind. And so we want to be a sovereign over the kingdom of the self, to rule over the self, a master of the self, which also means that we wouldn't need any masters, external masters or rulers. In astrology, the house of Leo is said to represent a balance between emotion and intellect. Again, the feminine and masculine energies. And we can also, look at the Lion of Judah, or the line of Judah, and look at the exoteric interpretation. The Rastas believe that the tribe of Judah, the biblical tribe of Judah, which was then brought down through King David and King Solomon. King Solomon, according to Rasta texts, had his only son with the Queen of Sheba in Ethiopia. That son Menelik would have been part of this divine line coming down from Judah, and they would say that the emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, could trace his blood and lineage back to this ancient line, and therefore was symbolic for the restoration of the divine line of Judah as to rule over the kingdom. And so there again is this exoteric story that helps to convey and to ground the symbolic message. But for many people that are unable to get past that exoteric story or the historical literal interpretation to ever grasp the greater moral allegorical meaning that is being conveyed. And so if the lion is the sovereign is where we're trying to be, the force that is trying to prevent us from realizing sovereignty within each and every individual would be a concept in reggae called Babylon.
Babylon system is the vampire. Yeah. Sucking the children day by day. Yeah. Me say the Babylon system is the vampire. Falling empire. Soaking the blood of the sufferer. Yeah. Building church and university. Oh, yeah. Deceiving the people continually. Yeah. Me say them graduating thieves and murderers. Look out now, they're sucking the blood of the sufferers. Yeah. Tell the children the truth. Tell the children the truth. Tell the children the truth right now. Come on in. Tell the children the truth. 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 Come on and tell the children the truth. Cause we've been trying on your wine press much too long. Rebel now. And we've been taken for granted much too long. Rebel now. Tried it on your wine press. Got to rebel.
So as he said, Babylon's system is the vampire. It's the oppressive system. It's the belief in authority and man-made authority. It's the oppositional force that some would call the satanic force or the force of involution. It is the force against creation itself. And in the song, he brings up a couple really important points. He brings building churches and universities. Now, the church is really the right brain approach to deceiving the people continually, or mind control or indoctrination. And then we have the left brain approach, the university, the so-called education system. And really, both of these are deceiving people continually. They are indoctrinating them into becoming part of the Babylon system, into being a cog in the system, into playing a role in the force that keeps people away from recognizing their true nature and their true self. And so it's they're graduating thieves and murderers, because if you contribute and participate in this system, whether it's government or corporations or any of the system in general, you are taking and you are participating in a system of theft and murder and violence and coercion and deception. And that is all in opposition to creation. That is not what our spiritual nature is. That is not what our spiritual goal here is to do. That is not what our work is. That is not our true self. And so that is also why it's symbolized by the concept of a vampire. What do vampires do? They suck the blood of other living beings. They have to live off something else's life force. They're not able to generate life force within themselves. It symbolizes those who exploit or oppress others. It's a way to depict Babylon or the establishment as a force that drains the life and prosperity of the people, because there's all these individuals, and we are all here to create and to express our individuality, and yet there's all these systems and institutions that have been propped up all around us that limit us and try to control us and try to make us conform and to participate into what they've decided is for us. And that is not the path of spiritual, that is not the journey of spiritual progress. That is not evolution. That is man-made things and ideas and systems that do nothing but keep us separate from what is true and real. Now, ideally, and you can see here that this is really what reggae music is intended to do. They're bringing the music, it's bringing light to the darkness and dispelling the vampires and the other ghouls, or what they would term duppies or evil spirits, things that are trying to keep us, from what is good. And like Peter Tosh would say, the vampire is going to fight against upfulness, fight against creation, going to fight against everything good for the younger generation. And if you corrupt the youth, that's how you keep us from making progress and moving along in evolution and in consciousness. Now, if we are able to avoid the trappings of Babylon and see the system for what it is, then we can reach higher states of consciousness in what they would call another concept called Zion. And now, exoterically, we could look at this as a physical, geographical location. Now, according to the Rasta, this would not be anywhere in the Middle East, but would rather be somewhere in Africa, or more specifically in Ethiopia. But we're referring to a state of consciousness. Zion is heaven on earth. It is when we have come to understand the laws of nature and the self. We have come into alignment with our thoughts, emotions, and actions. We have balanced the feminine and masculine. We are in non-duality. Therefore, we have reached self-mastery. We are a sovereign. Then we can begin to tap into higher states of awareness and to have a better understanding of the world and the way it works. And then we can start to convey that message to others. And as we do that, more and more people can come into alignment with what is true and what is right. And that will generate a much better experience or condition for everybody here on earth. So, like Bob Marley said, if you think you got to die and go to heaven, you're not reading the Bible right. It says you got to live in heaven, because we need to create a better world. We have free will for a reason. It's to show that we have the ability to learn right from wrong and then to choose to do right, because it's going to create the best experience and condition for all of creation. Now, another important way that we go about doing that is through the way that we live in the world and what we do with our spiritual currency of time and attention. And so there's another concept that goes into how we can maintain our own temple, and that's this concept of ital.
Cause health is wealth, ital is vital. You gotta take care of yourself. Health is wealth, Vital is vital, you can't rely on nobody else. Health is wealth, vital is vital. Try and take care of yourself. Health is wealth, vital is vital. You can't rely on nobody else. Don't you realize your body is a temple? Certain vitamins, they are essential. Some things are too detrimental. Stop you fulfill your potential. Even if you go pharmaceutical, try balance it with the natural. Some food and no food, it is chemical. Have to stop it too much animal. And then you will see you start operate at a different frequency. Your mind and body get in tune to the elements and treat them accordingly, compassionately. You don't want to hurt nobody and you want to live consciously. It's I, Maccabee. Try and be the best you can be, cause health is wealth. Vital is vital. You gotta take care of yourself. Health is wealth. Vital is vital. You can't rely on nobody else. Health is wealth. Vital is vital. Try and take care of yourself. Health is wealth. Vital is vital. You can't rely on nobody else.
So like you said, health is wealth. Ital is vital. It's Rasta for vital. They just drop the V and emphasize the I and I, or our connection to creation and to nature, because Ital is a way of life, not just a diet. It's a way of living in alignment with nature, in alignment with natural law, a natural way of life. It's only consuming positive energy and not negative energy to keep the mind, body, and spirit pure and vital. Because really our time and attention, what we give our time and attention to, and what we think about, and what we concentrate on, really generates who we are as a person and the way that we act and live in the world. And so it's very important that we spend our spiritual currency on what is good and what is moral and what is right, so that we can uplift humanity and continue to progress and grow further. When we give our time and attention to these things like that are more like Babylon, that are against creation, that keep us away from recognizing our true self and our spirit, we prevent ourselves from the progression of spirituality, of consciousness, the goal of evolution today and for the future. And so there is the more ITAL diet as well, which is more concerned with just what you eat, and that's most often a vegetarian diet. Sometimes it's going to be vegan. Other times they'll consume small amounts of fish, no or little salt, no artificial chemicals or additives, low or no processing. So really just as close to as whole and natural as possible. We want to use what nature provides, the abundance that is provided there for us, and eat it and consume it in as natural of a state as possible. And another part of that is using the herbs that are provided for our health and well-being, and as opposed to man-made pharmaceuticals and other drugs. We want to look towards natural herbs and plants for our healing. And there's one herb that is extremely important in the Rasta culture and reggae music, and that's cannabis. And so I'd like to bring Peter Tosh back in to talk a little bit more about the herb.
I know, and the world know, that herb was created for the use of man. And to every creation there is an imitation, see? And to every reality there is a fantasy, see? Herb was created for the use of man. Cigarettes and all those things was invented for the destruction of man. Herb was here before man, see? So that means if man come to violate the laws of who created herb, because herb is not an evolution, see? It is creation. And it was created by a divine mind for divine purposes.
So as you said, herb is part of creation. It was created by a divine mind for divine purposes. Because herb is a natural plant. it empowers the individual to take their health into their own hands. It's also a spiritual tool. It can be used to help open the mind. It's good for meditation. Uh, the Rastas will also say that it was found on King Solomon's grave, and that even in the Bible it says all herbs are for the healing of the nations. And so really what we're trying to do is use cannabis or other herbs that nature has provided as a means to our health and well-being, as opposed to relying on these man-made imitations. And the other thing that cannabis or herb was often used as to be symbolic for was a rebellion against defiance against Babylon's system, because it was outlawed and made illegal, and people were dehumanized and humiliated and treated as less than because they chose to consume a natural herb for their health and well-being and spiritual purposes. But some other people just decided that that wasn't okay, and they've oppressed them as a result. All right, so before I conclude today, what I wanted to do is to take a look at this beautiful piece of artwork and try and use the understanding that we've gained today and the definitions of these different symbols to try and decode the message being portrayed in this image here. So I'd like to start up here, right at the top here. We've got the letter I inside of an I. So obviously that's a reference to I and I, which again is that connection of each individual to creation. Now we've got two of them. We've got an I and I over here and an I over there. Now one of them is dark or black, and one of them is white or light. Now we can, if we recall, the light is often associated with the masculine energy, or the male principle, the solar energy. The dark or lunar is often associated with the feminine, and represented here with the queen. And now you can see we've got the balance and the harmonization of the masculine and feminine, the understanding of the I and I, and above them in somewhat the position of a third eye. If you kind of put them together, you have it saying here, I am that I am. Again, the reference to the individual and the connection of the individual to all of creation, the all in all. Now, again, the balancing of the feminine and masculine is represented in the seal of Solomon, the chalice, and the blade. And so we've got that with the fire in between, the ever-burning light, the knowledge that is going to continue to progress humanity. We're using that knowledge, the knowledge of the balancing of the left and the right, the being a holistic individual, non-duality, understanding our spiritual and physical natures are not separate, and we are connected to creation and to the spirit. We're teaching that information to the youth, and to the youth of all colors and nationalities. We're doing that through reggae music. The elders are speaking it through the reggae music. This music is trying to share the word of morality and what is true and what is right. It's, the music is inspired by the music of the angels. It's a divine inspiration. They're using the herb and smoked in the traditional chalice to help with that spiritual progress and to be in the present moment. And then we have the symbolism of the honeybees, which to me is what we go and do, what all the individuals are supposed to do, and spread the truth. And if we do that, we can pollinate and cross-pollinate and create abundance and fertility everywhere. And so I think this image is really trying to convey the entire message and purpose of reggae music. If we come into alignment as the individual and understand the true higher self, our connection to creation, to Jah, to the source, the I and I, and we balance the feminine and masculine natures within ourselves, have the power of the Trinity, our thoughts, emotions, and actions in alignment, then we can, through music, which is able to penetrate the mind, the body, the soul, so that the message can be felt, we can spread the word of creation through divine inspiration, and go and bring abundance and fertility, and bring about heaven on earth. So to conclude, the true purpose of reggae is to spread the truth, to teach people about right and wrong, and ultimately help humanity come closer to alignment with creation, with natural law, with Jah. By wrapping the message in song, artists are able to bypass the conscious mind and directly influence the subconscious toward morality and freedom. Now, like many mystery traditions, the message is often veiled in symbols, and understanding these symbols allows us to better decode and receive the message. So I'll move forward with again, the words of Peter Tosh to really bring the message together.
Reggae music is also a very political kind of music.
So there's a teaching, it's awakening. It's a music that specifically deals with the truth, and it deals with rights. See? And it teaches one of his or her constitutional rights, because each and every man upon this face of earth has a constitutional rights. But so much people's rights have been infringed and victimized and humiliated and discriminated, and all forms of ism infringe people's rights, see? So I, who was born in the shitstem and know of the situation, have to sing the music to let the people know who suffer the same similar situation.
So I think that sums it up really well. He said, reggae music is a teaching. It's an awakening. It's a music that specifically deals with the truth and rights, because everybody has rights. But many people's rights have been infringed upon and humiliated and dehumanized. And so as an individual who was born in the shitstem and understands the situation, we have to sing the music. And that is the one great work. That is the goal of the individual. Once you come to understand your true nature and your higher self, that you help to awaken others and awaken that self within each and every one. And the Rastaman and the reggae music attempts to do that in a way that's able to penetrate the mind and the body and the soul, and is able to not only be heard but to be felt. And really that in itself is the balancing of the left and the right and the holistic individual. And I hope through this understanding and this presentation, you'll have a greater appreciation for reggae music, and you'll be able to better hear and decode and understand the message trying to be conveyed, and hopefully we can all move closer into alignment with creation, with Jah, and with natural law. And so thank you very much for joining me today. Again, this was Chris Callahan with lovewisdomfreedom.com. And this was the mystery tradition of reggae and its symbols.